all of us, to take a look and see what's in our nervous system. The coronavirus hasn't brought fear to our doorsteps. It has merely brought to our attention what has already been embedded in our minds and hearts and in our cellular memory. And so, therefore, this is an opportunity for healing, for us to do some house cleaning and to clean out and cleanse what's latent in our subconscious, to give us a chance to let in some sterilizing light into our household. In the scripture that we started with from Matthew, Jesus was speaking literally and metaphysically. And of course, in Unity, we look at the metaphysical. Now, some of you may know the one line where the daughter-in-law doesn't get along with the mother-in-law, or vice versa. But you may also have run into the rest of the scripture. But seeing it from a metaphysical point of view, what Jesus is saying is, I have come, meaning the Christ mind, the higher consciousness has come to turn a person against their father, which refers to the rational mind, the ego mind thinking. He's come for that Christ consciousness to do battle with our limited rational thinking. What is true really may not gel with what our mind is telling us. You may experience a division within your own mind and thinking, because the Christ understanding of things is so much higher, and it's asking us to step up in consciousness right now. And then it says that a mother and a daughter may come into conflict. And again, that Christ understanding may cause tension between parents and children. Your emotional side, your mother, and the daughter, which are the feelings that come up from the emotional side, they may be in conflict. You may have this conflict going on inside of you. You may be in turmoil and upset in response to the higher consciousness that's asking you to see things very differently than what we're being fed in the media. Your enemies will become your own thoughts and feelings, and you will be under attack and distressed from your own feelings and thoughts. And over the last few days, I had asked the board for input as to whether we should have a Sunday service this morning. And very interesting, what I realized was that when I was in my mind about it, I was getting very stressed. But as soon as I went to my heart, I felt differently. And when I went to my gut, my intuition was, it's okay right now, do it. But it's so easy to get caught up in the mind. And of course, the mind will just spin us dry. So what we're undergoing is a time of sorting what's true and what's false. What's really true about me, who I am, my nature, the situation that we're in right now? What's the bigger picture? Why is this happening right now? What's the divine doing? Because the divine is doing something, offering something. We will sort the wheat from the husk, what is essential from what's incidental. And it will put us at odds with people. Maybe you've already experienced that in your own families. Maybe some people didn't want you to be here this morning. Not everyone will agree with you or see it your way. The super intelligent people who rely only on their own brain power and egoic rational thinking will think that we're all stupid, we're all mugs. Those who are totally embroiled in their unconscious emotional reactivity will attempt to get us riled up and join with them in the lynching mob, so to speak, All you have to do is look on Facebook and you see the type of posting that's going on for the past week. Those ideas and emotional reactions spread and are contagious. They spread from one person to another, which is why it behooves us to take a very good look at what is in our consciousness and what is it we're posting, what is it that we're saying and thinking and spreading. Yes, it's great that we are being cautious by not handshaking or hugging, that we are wiping down surfaces and door handles, which, by the way, we do every week here and have done for several years. But have we taken the time to sanitize our minds? Have we taken the time to check the math on our emotions? Have we taken the time to look at the household of our own minds and hearts and to see what is going on there? Is there another PowerPoint screen? No? Okay. Which brings us to the question of where our source for truth lies. We realize that we don't live in a vacuum, that we are part of a collective that includes collective consciousness and collective unconsciousness. Teilhard de Chardin, who lived from 1891 to 1955, was a paleontologist and a Jesuit priest. And he wrote about something that he called the noosphere. And he says the noosphere is a band of thought that is circling the earth that has evolved to its current state based on the growth in planetary complexity and consciousness. It is representative of where humanity has come in its evolution. It's an atmosphere, if you will. And it's no surprise that it manifests in physicality and in form. And it's really connected to the planet, circling the planet. And it could be said then that the coronavirus is representative of what humanity is holding in its collective mind. As we look at the state of the world and the planet in recent times, it's clear that all is not well. The earth is in crisis with climate change and events resulting from that, like the fires that we've seen in Australia and locally. Humanity is very divided politically, economically, great disparity, and socially. It would seem to make sense then that the virus is simply mirroring for us the state of the planet, the consciousness of the planet. The planet is trying to tell us something. We as people are infected with a self-destructive energy that's gone global, and no one is immune from its influence unless we wake up. The household is infected, and it is going to cause division, and it will be a moment for each of us to have to choose. What do I want in my home, in my heart? What world do I want to live in? A world focused on me, I, or a world where we takes first place? We being the deep knowing that there is only the divine, one great being showing up right now on the planet. Hence the great mantra, I am that. Perhaps it would even be better to say, I am this, which sounds a little more personal. Listen to what de Chardin wrote in a sketch of a personalistic universe, 1936. He really was the Einstein of spirituality for his time. There is neither spirit nor matter in the world. The stuff of the universe is spirit-matter. No other substance but this could produce the human molecule. I know very well that the idea of spirit matter is regarded as a hybrid monster, but I remain convinced that the objections made to it arise from the mere fact that few people can make up their minds to abandon an old point of view and take the risk of a new idea. Biologists or philosophers cannot conceive a biosphere or noosphere because they are unwilling to abandon a certain narrow conception of individuality. Nevertheless, the step must be taken. For in fact, pure spirituality is as unconceivable as pure materiality. So every spirit derives its reality in nature from a particular type of universal synthesis. So he's saying that matter and spirit are one. You can't split the atom. We are not then separate from any atom or molecule. We can't be, which implies that we too are one with this coronavirus. We're either in a world of duality or not. It is part of the one mind. And just as it can influence us in our thinking, so too can we influence it. What's its purpose? I mean, have you stopped to really think about that? What is its purpose, its mission? Surely to awaken humanity to its true nature and essence and oneness. As I said 2 weeks ago, surely our highest and best way to engage it is to communicate love to it and remind it of its true nature, that it too started out as the light. Its function really is love, just like us. Maybe scaring people half to death is its way of loving the planet, to get people to see more deeply. In the past, as you know, we have done Ho'oponopono here in the community. I've preached on it several times. And in Ho'oponopono it says that once something is in your consciousness and brought to your attention, then you can work to heal it. So I'm going to invite us right now to do some healing and cleaning together using Ho'oponopono, to clean our hearts and minds and to be in right relationship and to see aright the virus. And so we simply connect with the virus, trillions upon trillions of cells. And we say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I needed you to show up the way you have in the world, to help me to uncover what's in my subconscious and unconscious. Please forgive me. Forgive me for needing you to be the catalyst, to become aware of my fears and insecurities, and for helping me to realize how I am not as in touch with the truth of my being as I thought I was. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for however I built up the fear and all of those other things in my subconscious and conscious. I forgive others for doing the same. I love you. I love you, coronavirus. I love you, Jerry. I love you, all people. Thank you, coronavirus. Thank you for the great gift that you are giving us right now to grow in consciousness and to make the leap to higher consciousness. Thank you. Emotions and thoughts are contagious, right? If you go to a sports event or a concert, you can get caught up in the enthusiasm, in the moment, and it passes from one person to the next, and suddenly there's a whole stadium of people expressing happiness and joy. The question for us at this time on the planet is, which contagion do we want to be part of? You know, it's the old question of, what did you do in the war, Granddaddy, Grandma? Do we want to stir up fear, or do we want to spread the contagion of good and high vibratory ideas and the tradition of unity movement? Do we want to spread ideas of health and well-being, of connection and community, or of disease, of isolation and dread? And in the bigger picture, do we want to love, or do we want to hate? I choose to be part of the true inoculation by seeing aright, by knowing who and what I am, by doing that also for others, and by clearing out the fear so that truth may abide in my inner household, so that peace, the peace beyond understanding, which is the peace beyond the ego mind, can abide in my heart and mind regardless of what is going on out there, realizing that there is no out there anyway. Thank you all for adding your beautiful and wonderful energy to this unity movement.
It is time for our love offering, and we have a basket at the entry to the sanctuary, and we have one here, so instead of passing it around, if you would just deposit your love offering in the basket now or before you go, but what I want to do right now is to bless them together. So whether you have yours in your hand or you've already given it, this is more an exercise of our mind and our heart. So that when we give, we open up our hearts and we give with a deep sense of gratitude. We know and we feel that we live in abundance and we share abundance. It is a flow that we are so grateful to be a part of. And we do that wonderful that wonderful exercise of feeling grateful at the opportunity to give. I invite you to say our love offering with me.
Divine love, allow me to give with complete ease and abundance, knowing that together we are the limitless source of all. Let me be an easy, open conduit for our prosperity. Let me trust that all my needs are always met in amazing ways, and that it is safe to give freely as my heart guides. And equally, let me feel as widely open to receive as to give, so that our light can shine without restriction.
Isn't that a fantastic blessing? If you have change and you put it in the basket, it will be given to our Change for Change recipient, which is 4 Elements Earth Education, a nonprofit whose mission is to offer programs that guide children, families, and teens toward a pure connection to the earth through direct experiences in nature. And I believe my job here is to...
Your job is never done. And so as we come into this time of offering, I invite us again to listen to Karen Drucker. I am so grateful.
Gratitude to the right of me, gratitude over me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude
so grateful. I'm 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 so grateful. Gratitude before me. Gratitude behind me. Gratitude to the left of me. Gratitude to the right of me. Gratitude above me. Gratitude below me. Gratitude within me. Gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude for me. Gratitude behind me. Gratitude to the left of me. Gratitude to the right of me. Gratitude above me. Gratitude below me. Gratitude within me. Gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so
Gratitude is the true immunity. If you want to immunize yourself, go into gratitude. Find something to be grateful for. So I have one final piece that came in that was just so beautiful I have to share it. And it's called Pandemic by Lynn Unger. And it says, what if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up just for now. I'm trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You can hardly deny that now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has become clear. Do not reach out your hands, but reach out your hearts. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, as long as we all shall live. Powerful words. So we have some announcements for what they're worth. Well, as I look at these, I'm not sure what's happening or what isn't happening, so we'll be sending out more emails tomorrow. We may do things through Zoom. Hopefully it's worked. We'll find out. I'm not sure. But there is a new member orientation planned for Saturday, April 11th. Maybe by then we'll be up and running properly. So if anybody would like to become a member, you can join us on that Saturday morning. Easter Sunday is the next day, and we'll welcome you during the service. Okay, let's see. What else? Yeah, I don't see the point in announcing all of those things, but do take a handout. And James Doolittle, thank you for being here this morning. And on behalf of the board and the congregation, we would like to acknowledge your time on the board. You weren't here the Sunday of the elections and that. So we would just like to give you a thank you.
All right.
Okay, what's next? Okay, so we will listen to one more Karen Drucker song to take us out, and then we will recite our unity prayer after that. So, Karen Drucker, All Is Well.
All is well, I can breathe, I am safe. All is well.
invite you to join and put your hands over your hearts. It's the final prayer. Yeah, keep going. So please stand.
There we go.
There we go. So this really is our declaration of independence, as I like to think, from the non-dual, from the duality, moving into non-duality. And what we've done here this morning has touched my heart. I know it's touched yours. It was an act of faith, hope, and love. And we've created some beautiful energy, and we're sending it out now to the world, and we're declaring that we're going to continue in that vein. Together. The
Light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, because I am, and all is well.
Live long and prosper.